doing here killing our people? What are you arresting our people for?
I do not know that.
You do not know? What are they doing in your van?
Winnie Madikizela-Mandela was one of the most powerful and controversial figures in South African history. Born on the 26th of September 1936 in Bizana, Eastern Cape, she grew up under the harsh reality of apartheid. Before she ever met Nelson Mandela, she was already a remarkable person. She became South Africa's first black medical social worker at the Baragwanath Hospital in Soweto. She was working directly with victims of poverty, brutality, and broken families. It shaped her, hardened her, and planted a seed of resistance in her. She married Nelson Mandela in 1958, and although their marriage lasted for decades on paper, 38 years to be exact, it unfortunately only lasted for 4 years in person before Nelson Mandela was actually imprisoned. And together, they had 2 daughters, Zenani and Zinzi. And when Mandela was in jail, Winnie became the face of the struggle. While he became a symbol behind bars, she became the voice on the ground. She was harassed constantly by the apartheid police, detained, tortured, and kept under arrest. She spent 491 days in solitary confinement. Nah, that's not clocking in. 491 days in solitary confinement. A year is 365 days. She spent over a year in solitary confinement, whilst being tortured and beaten. And you guys do know that sexual torture was also a thing. They just don't talk about it. She was pushed to her psychological age. And during those years, she became more militant, more uncompromising, and more feared by the regime. She aligned herself with the ANC and later led the ANC's Women's League, operating close to underground circles when peaceful protests were crushed. In the late 1980s, controversy exploded around her. Around her Soweto home, a group was formed, publicly known as the Nelson Mandela United Football Club. But many around the community accused them of acting like enforcers and hitmen. The man at the center of all of this was Jerry Richardson. He was later exposed as a police informant or impimpi or snitch. This added another layer of chaos to her already turbulent life. In 1989, a 14-year-old boy, an activist named Stompie Seipei, was kidnapped by the members of that group, and he was accused of being a police spy. Days later, his body was found murdered. Richardson, who was the ringleader of the group, was convicted, and he also claimed that Winnie Mandela ordered the beatings. She denied these claims, but she was still found guilty of kidnapping. Some people say that Stompie, the young activist, actually found out about Jerry being a police informant, and before he could expose Jerry took it upon himself to unalive the boy. No court ever convicted Winnie of the murder of Stompie, but the accusations followed her for her whole life. She was sentenced to 6 years in prison, but then it was later dismissed and she had to just pay a fine. But after apartheid fell, the Truth and Reconciliation Commission investigated abuses from all sides, and they concluded that Winnie Mandela was politically and morally accountable for gross human rights violations, and Archbishop Desmond Tutu publicly begged her to apologize. Some people still hate him to this day, because they say he actually manipulated her.
Why they went wrong. And see, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for my part in what went wrong.
I was seething with rage.
She basically apologized for her mistakes, but not for any murder or anything of that sort. And some people say that this wasn't a confession of guilt. It was basically a recognition of trauma, rage, and survival. Winnie returned to politics and became the Deputy Minister of Arts and Culture, and she remained deeply loved by poor black communities. Many viewed her as the only leader who never softened, who never compromised, and never forgave white economic power. To others, she was dangerous, unstable, and responsible for the deaths of many innocent people. On the 2nd of April in 2018, she sadly passed away at the age of 81 after battling illnesses that had to do with diabetes and high blood pressure as well. She was given a state funeral. Up to this day, she remains a very polarizing figure in South Africa. Some people see her as a hero and others as a tyrant. But it's such a shame that had apartheid not happened, her and Nelson Mandela could have had a beautiful life. Just look at this beautiful couple.